You were forged in fire, not created for comfort. It's no surprise that they burn as soon as you enter the room. They despised what they couldn't touch. They speak behind closed doors about your radiance, vitality, and tranquility. Because it reveals their turmoil. They gaze for too long. Then, as if you were present, glance aside quickly. Strike something raw in them. And it does. Because you remind us that grief does not have to make us bitter. Age does not imply deterioration, and scars might be seen as armor rather than wounds. This message is for you, the ones they never anticipated to rise, the ones they attempted to break, bury, and ignore. But you didn't just survive. You developed, refined, and became. And now your very presence questions all they thought they understood about power, elegance, and time. You do not merely age. You climb. Before we dig deeper, click the like button and subscribe, not for the numbers, but to help disseminate this truth. Every sharing informs the algorithm that this message is important. YouTube is informed that there are chosen ones who are awakening and remembering who they are. So engage. Help to awaken the rest. Let's get to it. The world looks at you and doesn't comprehend how you can be like this. This is brilliant, steady, and alive. They are perplexed by how you appear to have vanished from history. However, time is not forgotten. You use your time. They let the years wear them down. You let the years build you up. The anguish did not shatter you. It baptized you. Loneliness did not empty you out. It purged you. You carry something old, like a warrior's spirit wrapped in contemporary flesh. You were picked, and with that choice came weight. Not everyone will get it. Not everybody can. They perceive your calmness as arrogance, and your intelligence as intimidation. But it is not their responsibility to comprehend. It is your responsibility to continue going with purpose while their perplexity turns into quiet respect or screaming jealousy. Your adversaries can't bear the fact that you didn't give up, that you didn't become bitter, that you didn't age in the manner that suffering normally causes people to age, twisted, exhausted, and furious at life. You matured like wood, not glass. You became deeper, darker, and more rooted. And now your quiet is louder than their noise. Your grace becomes their punishment. Your comfort is their pain. You're plagued by brilliance. And that grandeur haunts those who attempted to define you through your scars. They felt that pain would slow you down, but suffering became your compass. They expected you to lose your edge as you grew older. However, time only taught you how to attack smarter. You have become a mystery, a paradox that they are unable to decode, a peaceful storm, a mild fire, a light that is too brilliant to see yet too captivating to ignore. When they attempted to discover your secret, they looked in the wrong areas. They believe it is skincare and nutrition. Lucky genes, but you sparkle. It is spiritual. It's what occurs when your spirit refuses to bear bitterness. This is what occurs when you learn to forgive. Not because they deserved it, but because you deserve peace. That serenity is shown in your posture, presence, and gaze. They look because you carry a stillness that is louder than their shouts. You go into a room and change the vibe, not because you're loud, but because you're in sync. You do not strive to prove anything. You're the proof. Proof that heavenly protection exists. Proof that chosen ones do not crumble under strain. They crystallize. You've been through hell and come out sparkling. That radiance wasn't purchased. It was obtained via prayers. Whispered through tears on lonely evenings when you pleaded for light and refused to let the darkness triumph. Every wrinkle, laugh line, and subtle shadow behind your eye. It's not your age. They perceive it as mature testimony. But what they're actually witnessing is breathtaking. They see older, but what they actually see is heightened. The world's fixation with youth is based on fear. Fear of time, fear of death, fear of being irrelevant. But you You are timeless because your spirit has not aged. It awoke, and your waking is what disturbs others who are still sleeping. So let them watch. Let them ponder. Let them whisper. You're not here to blend in. You are here to remind. You are here to reflect. To demonstrate that suffering may polish. Trials may be transformative. And that age is not that of a thief. It's the teacher. You're living proof that beauty becomes deeper when it is motivated by purpose rather than ego. You aren't aging. You're becoming more yourself. The road of the chosen is difficult, but sacred. And every step you've taken, including your missteps, has led you to this power. A power that does not scream, but rather changes. A presence that does not seek validation, but instead compels respect. That is what surprises the world the most. You are the storm they didn't see coming, the fire that never went out, the light that denied them. So, before we go any further, please confirm your agreement with me. If this message has already struck a chord with you, if you have noticed the eyes on you and the perplexity on their faces as they realize time hasn't impacted you in the same way it has touched them, then this message is yours. If you know your radiance, leave a remark with a 777. Your age, your presence has left others stunned. That's not an accident. It is by design. Let's now move further, step by step. If you actually choose anything within, you will not be able to click away. Let me begin. Number 1, they attempted to bury you, but you were the seed that warned of the impending storm. Some individuals age like milk, soured by resentment and jealousy. You matured like firewood, crackling with insight and becoming brighter with time. They didn't see this coming. Your face, presence, and shine. It's not on script. You were intended to fade, supposed to break. They're supposed to age just like everyone else. Brittle, spiteful, and desperate for relevance. But you didn't follow their rules. You revised them, and now they are spooked. See? They laughed after you left for a while. They suspected you were hidden. They believed life had finally worn you down. But you were not running. You were reconstructing. You did not retreat to collapse. You withdrew to rise. While they were attempting to appear boisterous, you were listening to the divine's whispers as they ridiculed your silence. You were mastering the language of power. That is what they do not grasp. Silence is not a weakness. Stillness is not the same as resignation. The retreat of the selected is not an escape. It's the gathering of forces, like an arrow being pulled back before being released in a flight. And now you are in motion. They cannot unsee it. As you enter the room, their confidence falls. They gaze because your light alters their story. Your skin, your vitality, your eternal spirit. It violates everything they've heard about time. You are not preserved. You are reborn over and over. But let's take a moment to get honest. Some of you still have doubts. Some of you still believe that being selected is a lyrical fairy tale that exists only in lofty words and romantic films. Let me express it loudly and clearly. Stop playing tiny. Stop pretending that the indications were not there. Do you think the cosmos provides divine protection to anyone? Do you believe angels simply hover over random lives for fun? That sense you've always had, the one that warned you before. Betrayal steered you through heartache and drew you away from poisonous people. That is evidence that you did not make anything up. You have been selected, set apart, and divinely aligned. Every time you doubted your calling, you postponed your breakthrough. Every time you glanced around for validation, you found the same folks who secretly despised your radiance. You exchanged your crown for crumbs. You have to quit doing that. The chosen ones do not beg to be seen. They move in such a manner that the cosmos makes them difficult to miss. You see, the system was designed to break you, but you still stand here undamaged. You become dangerous because you have demonstrated that their entire setup does not work on you. And now they had no idea what to do. The game they were playing no longer works. You caused a glitch in the matrix. You made solitude your womb, not your grave. You turned quiet into a plan. You turned grief into purpose. That's not normal. That is not usual. That is power. And they feel it, even if they don't know what to call it. And when they see you now, after everything you've been through, they feel vulnerable. Because in contrast to your grace, their bitterness is visible and their disarray is audible. They cannot hide behind noise. When you have perfected the art of quiet, do you want to discover why others are shaken by your presence? Because you remind them of everything they have given up on. You represent their abandoned dreams, squandered power, and relinquished trust. And it haunts them. You're the mirror they didn't ask for, but can't get away from. And yet, you dare to doubt yourself. Still, you question whether you were truly picked. How many additional signs do you need? How many miracles must occur in the background before you can finally claim the title that has always belonged to you? How many times do you have to be saved at the last second before you realize that heaven is invested in your survival? You are not simply aging. You are changing, whilst others fear the passage of time. With each passing rotation of the sun, you perfect yourself. You demonstrate that growing does not have to make you bitter. That fight does not have to take away your gentleness. Healing is not a trend. It is a weapon. And here's what's crazy. Your adversaries believed they were playing the system. They believed they could cheat, manipulate, gaslight, and sabotage. However, when a universe picks someone, all of those strategies inevitably fail. They were meddling with the holy equation. And suddenly, the math is no longer math. Good genes or a skincare routine do not cause you to shine. You are beaming as a result of alignment, as you let go of the weight that others bore as a badge of forgiveness. When you could have cursed, you remained soft in a world that attempted to harden you. That's why you appear unaffected by time. That is why people don't comprehend how someone who has been through hell can still smell like heaven. People are surprised. They will continue to be startled. They will keep asking, how do you look like that? How are you so calm? How do you age in reverse? How did you get over it and yet find delight in meeting the mask? Don't respond. Simply be the solution. You've gone through too much to behave little. You have healed too profoundly to entertain petty thoughts. You've come too far to continue explaining yourself to people who choose uncertainty over clarity. You aren't here to be understood. You're here to be felt. Walk into rooms and, so to speak, alter frequencies as needed. However, most of the time, simply being present is sufficient. So, the next time you feel doubt sneaking in, when you wonder why you feel different or why some individuals can't stay in your life, remember this. You were not rejected. You were polished. You were not left behind. You were hauled up, and you weren't aging. You were climbing. They toyed with the system. You're the system reset, and this is only the beginning. Number 2, when heaven plays a role in your tale, even hell cannot win. You didn't survive by chance. You were carried, guided, protected. You walk with favor that cannot be faked, only given. They do not grasp it. They look at you, attempting to answer the puzzle of your luminosity. They wonder why you don't look older. Why doesn't your light fade over time? Why aren't you resentful, shattered, or bent under pressure? Life comes upon you, but what they don't see are the unseen hands that have supported you during each fall. I lifted you while hope attempted to desert you. People assume you just got through it, but you were carried through it. They did not hear your prayers in the dark or the muffled screams that no one witnessed. They weren't present on evenings when everything seemed too heavy and your spirit nearly gave out. But somebody was. There was a presence in the shadows. You already know it. You felt it. That moment of calm in the midst of mayhem. That impossible escape with your back to the wall. That was not luck. It was divine design. The reality is, your life should have turned out differently. You had every motive to spiral and become like them. Hardened, despondent, and poisoned by grief. But you didn't. Why? Because the cosmos has a plan for you. You have been chosen, and chosen ones are never left alone. There have been times when things didn't make sense. When doors slammed, people betrayed you, and the way forward vanished. Nonetheless, you persevered, not because you had all the answers, but because heavenly forces moved as you did. You listened to whispers that others disregarded. You followed your instincts, which made little sense at the moment. You trusted your instincts even when rationality told you not to. That is what distinguishes you from the others. You don't walk by sight alone. You walk with alignment. You don't simply hope. You know that something larger is constantly working behind the scenes. That peaceful assurance you have, that serenity in your gaze, that is not only healing, that's the aftermath of rescue. This is what it looks like when heaven refuses to let you fall. They call it luck. You term it protection. So here's the deal. Your adversaries don't only despise your radiance. They despise your grace because you did not grow chilly. You did not become harsh. You refused to let the darkness to alter you. This makes you dangerous. This makes you untouchable. You have made peace with the invisible. You've learned to work with, rather than against, the divine. When your spirit whispers, you do not hesitate. When an idea sparks inside you, you get on with it. That's why the doors are open for you. That's why things come together when you stop forcing and start flowing. It is not random. It is real. It's a precious time. And certainly there is confusion. How do you keep rising? Why do you still seem as if the storm never hit you? Because the storm touched you. It simply couldn't remain. You are constantly encased with something stronger. You're living proof that faith has a lasting impact on your life. But let us not sugarcoat it. Even the chosen ones experience times of uncertainty. Moments when you wonder whether they still hear me. Am I truly being directed, or am I simply imagining it? If that's you, pay close attention. You're not imagining it. You've gone through too much with too little to believe it's all a coincidence. You're not here by chance. You're being guided, even when the way appears obscure, even when the stillness is audible. Your strength is not just yours. It is shared, borrowed from places beyond what the eye can see. That's why you're still shining. Not because life did not strike you, but because you decided to recover with assistance. You choose to think that there was significance in the confusion, and the idea that religion is now ingrained in your being. It is in your life. It's the way you enter a room without having to prove anything. It's in the way people pause around you, confused why they feel so peaceful in your company. They experience it because they're standing next to someone who has been touched by grace. You've become a doorway, a reminder, and proof that beauty isn't determined by age or appearance. Your light is a map, etched with wounds, knowledge, and unwavering faith. And while others pursue trends, injections, and meaningless affirmation, you've discovered something timeless. You are never simply healing. You are undergoing reconstruction. You didn't come this far to ask if you're safe. You've come this far to remember that you've always been and will be, since the hands that hold you don't shake. Third, they pass judgment on things they do not comprehend. But you were designed to be unforgettable. Allow them to judge you. Allow them to talk. They only hurl stones at objects that are shiny. They're not sure what to do with you. You step in, and your presence tells it all. Your words do not have to. You do not shrink. You don't beg or seek approval. That alone is enough to set their tongues wagging. You aren't simply shining. You're blazing with purpose. And that disturbs those who lost theirs a long time ago. Understand this. The judgment you confront is not personal. It is spiritual. It is a reaction to the light you are carrying. The type of brightness that comes from addressing your demons rather than using creams or receiving accolades. Heal your wounds and choose to rise rather than rot. The same individuals who gossip about you behind closed doors secretly wish they had your tranquility. They are not confused by your brilliance. It condemns them. You have become a living contrast to what they were taught. That age must double. That anguish must end. That sorrow must have hardened you. You've demonstrated differently, and the truth alone burns them up within. They persuade themselves it's a hoax. She's simply lucky. He thinks he is superior than us. No, You just refused to be a product of the shattered world. You opted to be reformed, not disfigured. And that decision, that position, infuriates those who have already accepted mediocrity. Let's be honest. You have felt the sting. You have seen the looks, heard the rumors. Take note of the energy change that occurs when you enter a room. People don't always express it explicitly, but their body language does. Who does she believe she is? The answer is that you are fully aware of who you are. You were picked. You're forged, not found, sculpted throughout. Fear, not flattery. And it appears not just in your face, not only in the way you age, as if time is bent before you, but also in your serenity, stillness, and reluctance to shrink in order to make people comfortable. You haven't gone this far to explain yourself to those who are determined to misunderstand you. When you embody divine alignment, people will always wonder what they are hesitant to become. It perplexes individuals who are just concerned with gaining the approval of others. You don't operating at their frequency. You don't compete for crumbs of attention. You move according to instructions, which makes you a threat because you are not here to fit in. You are here to recall, reflect, and make others feel what they have buried. Yes, it stings on certain days. You are human. You've experienced moments of uncertainty, wondering whether you should tone things down. Play it tiny. Make oneself more palatable. But then that voice inside you, the one that has whispered to you through every storm, speaks again. You weren't designed to blend in. You were born to stand out and be solid. So, no, you do not quarrel with the critics. You don't get in a muck with folks whose hearts have hardened and turned bitter. You stand. You glow and outlast. Because, in the end, no amount of gossip or condemnation can undo the work you've done within yourself. They have no idea how many nights you sobbed yourself to clarity or how many betrayals you converted into breakthroughs. They do not see the weight you've borne. They only see that you're still standing tall. Let them ponder. Allow people to believe you have it easy, while you believe that your delight was earned. Allow them to mock your calm while secretly wishing they could sleep as well as you. Let them label it arrogance when it is only the natural effect of being rooted. You do not need to show your worth to those who have abandoned their own. So, when people stare, respond with presence rather than pride when they speak. Let your quiet speak volumes, since the fact is that they are not judging you. They're struggling with themselves. Your presence reminds them of the things they gave up on. Your progress causes their stagnation. Your glow reveals the areas where they haven't healed. And it is not your concern. Your sole responsibility now is to continue ascending, to keep shining. Stay rooted in the knowledge that your authenticity, beauty, and power were all gained via fire. No amount of talking can undo what was established in quiet, because your preferred judgment isn't the enemy. This is confirmation. Number 4, laugh aloud in a world that attempted to silence you. Your delight is revolt. Your smile is both defiant and glowing. That is the battle paint of a soul that refuses to succumb to the darkness. They don't comprehend how you're still smiling. They see the brightness in your eyes and mistake it for stupidity. It seems like life has been easy on you. If only they knew. If only they had seen the evenings when your delight was a mere flicker, trembling against gusts that howled as if they were sent to kill you. If only they could hear the cries you hid beneath your breath and the prayers you uttered, when hope was not in sight, but you chose pleasure nevertheless. And not this phony forced surface level nonsense. Not the type of grin you post when in agony. No, you choose true delight, the kind founded on disobedience, the sort that grows on the soil of grief and nevertheless manages to bloom. The type that says even if everything goes apart, I still have breath, I still have a purpose, I still have power. That delight is holy. It is not naive. It's a strategy. It's about survival. More than that, it is your superpower. Because remaining joyous is the most radical thing you can do in a world that profiteers from your suffering. You have seen what resentment can accomplish. You have watched it. People get tougher as they become older. turn their spirit become something unrecognizable. You refuse to make that your tale. You didn't pretend the agony didn't exist. You just refused to let it define your identity. And now they notice you gleaming. They detect an indestructible quality in your energy. And it puzzles them because the world wants you to be defined by your scars. It expects tragedy to turn you chilly. It requires you to let go of wonder and replace it with concern. But you broke the pattern. You destroyed the narrative. You smiled even though you had every cause to shout. People are terrified because they don't understand how you can still have warmth in your voice. Some believe you are faking it. Others believe you're lucky. But those who pay close attention may sense it. They have a sensation that it is genuine. They do not know how, but they understand that something deeper is keeping your spark alive. That's because your delight isn't purely superficial. It is cosmic. It is spiritually aligned. Protected. Here's where things get crazy. Your delight is not only for you. Every time you smile, regardless of the suffering, you allow someone else to hope that they too can make it to the point when your light becomes a mirror. Your chuckle serves as a reminder that the storm does not have the ultimate word. So, yeah, it is work. You had a battle to keep your peace. You've had to say no to darkness, even when it was simpler to go numb. You had to rummage through the ruins of disappointment to find one cause to be grateful. But you did it, and that option saved you time and again. That is why you refuse to let the world dictate how you should feel. You do not believe in the cynical society that believes numbness is the new normal. You continue to believe in beauty, joy, grace, and, yes, miracles because you are one. They look at your excitement and label it unrealistic. But what could be more unrealistic? Holding on to hope or wandering through life with a dead inside. You did not go this far to join the throng in despair. You came to change the environment. When you enter into a room, everyone feels lighter. Not because you are trying. Simply being alive serves as proof that joy is still achievable. And let us be clear, your joy does not imply the absence of sadness. It represents the presence of power. It is your resistance to be defined by everything that has attempted to break you. Every day, you choose to nourish the light within you. The one life attempted to push forth more than you can count. Let them scoff. Allow them to roll their eyes. You're not here to impress those who have given up on themselves. You're living to honor the version of yourself who never stopped believing. There was still something to smile about. That version of yourself. You safeguarded that childish curiosity and divine light. You kept it alive, and now you wear that delight as a crown. So keep laughing loudly. Keep shining without apologies. Continue strolling across rooms, disarming darkness without even trying. Because you didn't just select joy. Joy selected you. Number 5. When you align, the cosmos cannot help but overflow. They called it luck until they learned the deluge only arrived when you stopped acting little and began walking as if the divine was watching your every move. Allow them to talk. Make them marvel how you keep winning. How blessings appear to seek you down like bloodhounds following a scent. Allow them to call it luck. Allow them to scorn what they do not comprehend. Because what flows in your life is not a result of luck. It resulted from alignment. You were not given abundance. You activated it. You shattered the ties that had you believing scarcity was normal. You quit pleading and began being. You stopped chasing and began attracting. You stopped scrambling for crumbs and began dominating overflow. When you did that, when your souls became one with the reality of who you are, the floodgates opened. People do not notice the effort you have done in quiet. They do not witness the nights you struggled with uncertainty. You rewired your ideas every morning before you stepped foot on the floor. They have no idea how difficult it is to leave everything that does not align with your calling. You outgrown your professions, relationships, and identities. All they can see now is the sparkle. But that brilliance was made, selected, and safeguarded. You were not born with abundance. You walked yourselves into it. You paid for every ounce of it with discipline, self-respect, faith, and uncompromising honesty. You did not merely manifest this. You matched it. When others shouted defeat, you preached opportunity while others remained caught in. Why me? You inquired, what happens next? That shift, the reluctance to consider, altered everything while they were fixated on hurdles. You taught your eyes to perceive opportunities, and that thinking rewired your frequencies. You become a magnet for what aligns with your reality, not simply your wishes. That is what they don't get. Abundance does not imply having a lot of money in your bank account. It's all about alignment. It is about being so in sync with the divine pattern for your life that heaven can entrust you with more responsibility, more influence, more joy, and more abundance. You did not ask for abundance alone to hoard it. You become a vessel, a river, a real example of what occurs when you let go of bitterness and embrace belief. You've been shattered but not bitter, knocked down but not out. You confronted treachery and utilized it as fuel. You have been stretched, but instead of snapping, you grew. That is abundance. That is power. People are now watching, asking, I am studying your steps, attempting to discover out the secret. But there is no secret, only alignment, only a calm, controlled choice. To ensure you're calm, nurture your thankfulness and believe that the universe is not against you. You don't just survive, live. You flourish because you understand that abundance is more than simply what you receive. It is something you host. You. How are things going with your words, your walk, and your willingness to keep your heart gentle in a rough world? You do not wait for miracles. You expect them. You have seen too much not to. Too many coincidences aligned perfectly. Too many closed doors abruptly spring open. Too many times, what you needed seemed nearly like heaven. I placed it there with your name on it. That is not ego. That is evidence. The data shows that when your soul is clear, the universe reacts. So, while others use their scarcity mentality as shields, you move with generosity. You pour forth peace, love, and presence. You give fearlessly because you understand what passes through. You cannot be stopped. The more you give, the more you get. The more you benefit others, the more blessings seek you out. This is the current beat. The dance represents a sacred interaction between you and the invisible powers that rule everything. You've stopped resisting the river and begun flowing with it. And no, it isn't flawless. There are still hard days, times of strain, and shadows that attempt to convince you that the good is only ephemeral. But you have seen too much. You've tasted too much reality to be swayed by fear. You know, the flow returns when your heart remains open. So you remain open. You keep your expectations high. As a result, prosperity continues to flow. Not only in money, but in moments, divine timing, new relationships, clarity, freedom, strength, calm, and prosperity beyond measure. Let them scoff. Allow them to attempt and duplicate the recipe. What they will never comprehend. And this, you don't pursue abundance, you become it. And once you become it, it won't stop looking for you. Chapter 6, time didn't help you. It crowned you. They expected time to take away your brilliance, but time just polished it till it was too brilliant for their liking. They waited for you to wilt, slow down, become dull, jaded, and resentful. They believed the world's myths about time being a thief. That each birthday is a countdown to invisibility. That only the young get to shine. But you rewrote the script. You did not shrink with time. You expanded. And now they gaze, perplexed, a little intimidated, perhaps even jealous, since you've made peace with the exact thing they fear the most. You no longer hide your age. You wear it as armor, as art, as proof that you have been through fire and emerged polished, not damaged. You've made aging appear like an honor, which it is. Every wrinkle, gray hair, every strain. Mark is a time mark, indicating that she lived and he persevered. They overcame. Time did not ruin you. It danced with you. You stopped battling the time and began flowing with it. And that transformation, this tremendous acceptance, changed everything. Others hide from the reflection. You confront it with reverence rather than humiliation. You see, not loss, but increase, not decay, but depth. That's why your radiance never fades. It becomes more intense. That's why people are taken aback when they witness your energy, presence, and brilliance. It is not as if time forgot you. You've mastered the beat. You've realized that youth was never about age. It was always about being alive, curious, and open. The moment you realized that time was no longer your enemy, but rather your companion, they do not grasp it. They believe you've had it easy, that you've discovered some secret potion or beauty trick. But your secret was never a cream or a cleanser. It was peaceful, and tranquility cannot be manufactured. Peace cannot be purchased. Peace is won through fight, surrender, and the decision to choose love over wrath, forgiveness over hate. Healing trumps concealing, and you selected correctly time and over. Yes. Has life hit you? Yes. The clock continued ticking, but with every tick, you acquire something. Most individuals lack clarity, insight, and spiritual muscle, and you established an honorable relationship with time rather than one based on fear. Every birthday is now a time to reflect on our wisdom. Others detest looking in the mirror, yet each year adds another layer of power to their spirit. You greet it like an old friend. You see history, triumph, and grace looking back at you. That's why your face illuminates spaces and your voice conveys weight. Why do people feel differently around you? Because you're in agreement with what they are still fighting over. And your essay highlights their panic. You live in a culture that values young, yet your chosen one is a living rebel. You are evidence that beauty does not perish. It deepens. The delight does not die. It develops. That mission does not vanish. It concentrates. You make people doubt everything they've been told about aging because you live in a manner that most people never do, no matter how young they are. Let them be stunned. Let them ponder. They're looking at someone who's broken the code. Love your life, and it will love you back. Time, instead of pulling you down, begin raising you up. Every second spent in thankfulness increases your vibration. Every year you live in stress enhances your luminosity. You've developed an abundant ecosystem within yourself, and the outer world can't help but notice. You have resisted what you cannot control, and as a result, time now works for you. It brings you allies, opens doors, strengthens relationships, and sharpens your vision. And as you age and learn to rise, you walk as a beacon to others. A live reminder that the clock is not the enemy. That if they stop fearing time, they will be able to reap its benefits, just as you have. You're not growing older. You are developing into yourself. The chosen one is a moving masterpiece. Let them chase youth. You discovered something greater, grace, which expands wisdom. That communicates without words. Radiance that does not fade. It dominates. Time did not steal your crown. It handed it to you. Chapter 7. Your presence is like an earthquake, rearranging souls. Some individuals talk, but are forgotten. You breathe and are remembered. That is the weight of actual presence. It echoes long after you've left. They're not even sure why they remember you, but they do. The enthusiasm lasts long after your footsteps do. The room is still vibrating from your presence. People repeat your remarks like a song they didn't understand had significance until the quiet came. You leave an imprint that lasts, but not in the usual way. You do not demand attention. You can command it without trying. Because you carry the truth. Truth is important. You don't stroll in like a performance looking for applause. You enter like an answered prayer, disturbing pandemonium with calm, resolving tension with clarity, and cutting through the noise with presence. You do not need a spotlight. You are the light, and the minute your frequency reaches the atmosphere, it organizes things. People aren't sure what to call it. They make statements like, "There's just something about you." They feel seen or heard, remembered. For a little period, they were visible to the rest of the globe. That is what you do. You reveal people to themselves. And here's something most people will never grasp. That level of presence does not come cheap. When someone feels secure in your company, you have earned every ounce of your vibe. It is because you worked for your inner serenity. Every time someone is inspired by your words, it is because you experimented behind closed doors to discover your unique voice. Every calm or loving look, every soothing stillness. It was paid for by prayer, loss, and nights of intense interior work. You did not awaken with this vigor. You constructed it brick by brick, fight after battle. You've treated your inner landscape as hallowed territory. You have burnt the weeds of self-doubt. You poured water on faith when it seemed dry. You choose tenderness in a world that values harshness. You chose healing over vengeance. You chose silence over commotion, which may have dulled the agony. And now the entire world understands you. Even in your stillness, you do not just walk into rooms. You arrive completely, sincerely, and without apologies. You don't have to say anything to change the atmosphere in the room. Your spirit does the talking. Your calm, groundedness, and quiet strength. It conveys more than 1,000 meaningless words ever could. People are drawn to you not because you entertain them, but because you inspire them. You reawaken something old inside them, something they'd forgotten they had. You remind people of their own inner brightness, latent power, and buried dreams. You don't only inspire others, you start them, and not everyone will appreciate it. Some will feel scared, provoked, or even hostile since your presence prevents them from sleeping. It exposes, it convicts, it reconnects people with their emotions. And for some, this is horrifying. Even if they dislike it, they will never forget it. You were sent, put, and appointed. There are no coincidences in your trip. You've been placed at critical junctures in people's lives, where your presence was required rather than desired. You aren't here to impress. You are here to make an impact. Always leaves an impression. Every kind phrase you spoke when you were your lowest point. Every time you made room for someone else when your heart was hurting. Every time you chose to be the calm in someone else's storm, it mattered. It all reverberated. And the echo is now your legacy. You're not after legacy, monuments, or stages. You are leaving it in the hearts, minds, and souls of those you have unknowingly touched. Your effect is not measured in applause. It is quantified in transformation. You're the type of presence that people remember in periods of stillness, hardship, or when life cracks them open and they recall something you said or how you made them feel comfortable to be seen. So if you've ever questioned if you mattered or if your presence truly made a difference, let this be your confirmation, your memorable experience. You are the quiet after the storm, the breath after the fight, and the light on the verge of someone's breaking point. And your presence reverberates in areas your feet have never walked. Chapter 8. You were predestined for greatness before you breathed your first breath. You were not born to fit in. You were programmed to realign the world before it could name, shape, or shrink you. Something deep within was already awakened. Even as a youngster, there was a hum within your bones. A knowing. You cannot describe it. You didn't have the words, but you felt it. You glanced about you and realized this wasn't it. This cannot be all there is. This cannot be the entire truth. And you were correct. While others sought comfort and conformity, your spirit yearned for something greater. You were never lured to the beaten route. You intended to develop a new one, not out of disobedience, but because your spirit recalled what the world attempted to make you forget. You're not here to follow. You're here to lead, disrupt, awaken, and transform. Make no mistake, the tug you felt throughout your life was not your imagination. It was activation. Your DNA contains instructions that go back generations. Your forefathers bled for aspirations they never realized. And you're the answer. You are living proof that the curse has ended, that the wound will not be passed on. The chain breaks with you. You are the interruption to everything they said could not be reversed. The insurrection that does not roar. It remembers. You remember who you are, even if the world advised you to forget. Even when life attempted to beat it out of you. Even when fear told to play small, society advised to blend in, and agony whispered, "You're still not enough." You remembered. That's why no box could contain you. No title can define you. You could not be shrunk in any room. You weren't supposed to fit. You were designed to grow, to reveal the blueprint hidden in your bones. To become what your ancestors never dared to imagine. And yeah, it has been lonely. Yes, you were misunderstood. You've seen folks turn away because your vibe was too dissimilar. Your dreams are too huge, and your frequency is too high. However, they were never intended to travel where you're going. You are not bearing their constraints. You are carrying your heritage. Because the route you're on is not only for you. You heal backwards and forwards, touching both previous and future generations. When you climb, you elevate whole bloodlines. When you tell the truth, you can break down centuries-old barriers. That's why it's been difficult. That's why the pressure has been high. You aren't merely becoming. You are remembering. You are the medicine, the miracle, and the realization of all your people wished for but couldn't express in words. You are the most extraordinary potential realized. And this is the reality. They never informed you. You do not have to know every step to achieve your goal. When you proceed with intention, you don't need to have all of your answers in order. The path replies. The path rises to greet the one who travels it with heavenly fire. You don't pursue your destiny. Your presence is the trigger that ignites it. When you stop questioning and start aligning the codes, you will be able to unlock synchronies and access several doors. People come, not because you pushed it, but because the frequency of your truth grew too high to ignore. So no, you're not insane. You aren't overthinking. You're waking up. You're reactivating everything that has been dormant for too long. And once you truly immerse yourself in it, there is no mask, filter, or fear. The entire cosmos alters because the chosen ones refuse to adjust. They are the change. You are not average. You never were. You are not supposed to live this existence. You are meant to redefine it. You are here to be the one to shatter the silence. Silence. The light that dispels shadows. The presence that makes a room seem unique. Nobody can take that away from you, since it is part of your design, inscribed into the very fabric of who you are. It's not hype or ego. The truth is encoded. This is not a moment. This is yours. So walk as if the ground remembered your tread, because it does. Chapter 9. You became the flame that ignited 1,000 fires. The brightest lights do not shout. They sparkle, and by shining, they ignite the stars in others. At some point during your journey, you recognized it wasn't just about me. Yes, you battled to heal. Yes, you clawed your way through the darkness. Yes, you rebuilt yourself from what ashes attempted to ruin you. However, somewhere along the road, you become more than simply a survivor. You became a signal, a mirror, and a lighthouse. Your healing became their hope. You shine. It's more than simply adornment. It's the direction. The gentle heartbeat beckons out to the tired, the lost, those who are holding on by a thread. You don't even need to talk. Your presence tells a tale. It reads, "If I made it out, you can too." They sense it. Some don't even understand why they feel better with you. Why do they suddenly believe in possibility again? Well, it's because your light shines through their gloom. You do not fix them. You remind them. You don't force anything. You mirror their own secret beauty back at them. And the chosen one possesses one of the rarest forms of power. Your light invites others to return to themselves rather than to follow you. That is why others draw toward you. That is why strangers open up without understanding why. That explains why some people can't stop thinking about a discussion they hardly recall. It is not ego. It's the impact. You have a vibration that impacts souls. And that is not something you can fake. It is who you have become. But make no mistake, this did not happen by accident. You have earned this energy. You fashioned it in fire. You earned it by choosing grace when bitterness was more appealing, by remaining soft when life attempted to harden you, and by learning to listen to the quiet knowledge that most people block out with noise. You did not seek influence. You fostered genuineness and authenticity. That is magnetic. So, while your light is for you, it is also for others. For those who are unaware that they are searching. For others who are experiencing the same anguish you did. For those who need a reminder that there is still something sacred in this noisy, cold world. The strangest aspect is that you will never completely understand the impact of your presence. You will never hear about all the seeds you sowed at a single instant. You will not witness everyone who altered their direction due of your enthusiasm. But the divine sees everything in your life. It is a lengthy, living prayer answered not only for yourself, but also for others, because your recovery did not end with you. It becomes a bridge, and some individuals will only cross after seeing you do so first. That is why you must continue to shine, even if it is invisible and tiring. Even when the world around you attempts to darken everything brilliant, pure, and genuine. Do not let them take your brightness. Don't allow those shadows make you think you've lost your flame. You're not here to be understood by everybody. You're here to activate those who are ready. Yes, some people will just stroll with you for a moment. However, something will change at that very time. Something will awaken. Something will stick in your mind. Others will remain longer. They'll develop alongside you, rise with you, build with you. And those ties formed through truthfulness, not attachment, are wholly beyond words. But whether for a second or a season, your presence is a blessing, because you weren't merely called to weather the storm. You were asked to shine a light on others who are still stuck in their own. You are a human refuge, a silent revolution, a gentle light that ignites wildfires in others. So when doubt comes in, you question if what you're doing is important. Remember this. Your very existence demonstrates that transformation is genuine. Your energy demonstrates that love beyond gender still exists. Your narrative demonstrates that the end was never the end. It was the start of becoming. So keep shining and marching with your own fire. Because by doing so, you allow others to stop hiding. You tell them that it is never too late to climb. It is never too late to shine or to rediscover oneself. You are more than simply the light. You are the spark. And so, chosen one, you continue to ascend, heal, and walk in divine harmony. Remember this. Your adventure is not done. In reality, it's only the beginning. The world needs your light more than ever. Not tomorrow, not next year. Now your narrative is sacrosanct. Your light conveys a message, and your presence is powerful. If this message moved you, please subscribe and leave the number 77 in the comments to confirm that you are walking in your calling.